At Il Giardino, Deacon thanks his server on a good job, preparing for Will's celebration. Will and Electra enter and talk to Deacon before stating that tonight will be amazing. Sheila observes them from distance. Luna visits Lee's house and looks at an internet photo of Electra dressed for a party. When her aunt or grandmother walks in, she puts down the phone. She had to leave her alone for the evening and reminds her that she risked all for her. Lee reveals that she would be meeting with an attorney shortly to develop a strategy for herself. Luna implies that she has her own plans. Lee tells her to avoid becoming like her mother. Luna, alone, removes a disguise from a dresser drawer and grins mischievously. What will Luna be up to? At the restaurant, a Forrester redhead orders a drink and purrs her congrats to Will. She is quickly replaced by Electra, who is convinced Will is only interested in her. Deacon informs Sheila at their apartment that Katie's baby boy is making them a lot of money right now. Sheila proves that they are not obligated to chaperone, and then recommends they throw their own party. They make out. Mid-make-out, Deacon applies the brakes and decides they should keep a watch on the young adults. Conversation always goes to Luna. Deacon says that he never expected things to turn out this way when Luna was an intern. Sheila wonders if she would have known sooner, if she could have protected her from her terrible urges. She remembers kissing her granddaughter on the lips and then the shooting. Luna disguises herself as a waitress and enters the party, which is already in full flow. Zend arrives among the dancing and drinking to congratulate Will and converse with him and Electra. Luna was handed a tray of sliders and instructed to circulate. She serves Will's table, but no one recognizes her. Apparently having never heard the cautionary tale of his Aunt Brooke from years ago, Zend pulls out a large plastic bin full of masks and advises everyone to put one on. Luna watches and recalls an earlier fantasy about Will. The bartender joins Luna and advises her not to serve the drink, which is 180 proof and tasteless. When Will goes up and wants a vodka soda, Luna pours him the prohibited booze instead. Lee and Sheila panic as Luna prepares the stage for pandemonium. Sheila tries to defend her to Deacon upstairs, insisting that she deserves a better life. Deacon believes that if she had held it together, she would be celebrating with Will downstairs right now. Sheila squints, thinking Luna would have enjoyed being with Will. Across town, Lee is taken aback when she returns home to find Luna missing. At the party, Electra, wearing an animal costume, raises a drink to Will and Tony as the audience cheers. Will sidles up for a kiss, and she asks him to get her another drink. Will purchases another for himself, and Luna once again provides him with high-quality materials. Will is noticeably tipsy when he talks to Deacon about ride-sharing after the party. Luna grins as she watches Will gulp his vodka soda. Meanwhile, upstairs, Sheila is interrupted while painting her 8 toes by a call from Lee, informing her that Luna has left. As they dance, Will tells Electra how badly he wants her and how much he loves her, leaving Sheila speechless. Luna muses, "Will Spencer, tonight is truly your night." Luna's boots echoed on the cracked concrete floor of the abandoned warehouse, a vast shell of rusted beams and smashed windows hidden away on the city's outskirts. The air was thick with dust, agitated by her determined strides, and the subtle scent of mildew clung to everything. She shifted the weight of the unconscious figure slung over her shoulder. Electra, her once friend turned antagonist, bound securely with coarse rope. Luna's jaw clenched as she pushed deeper into the maze of crates and shadows, her head a cacophony of determination and sorrow. This was not how she had envisioned their narrative ending, but betrayal had a way of altering plans. Her goal was the storage unit, a small, protected area located at the back of the warehouse. She'd scouted it weeks earlier, and its solitude was ideal for what needed to be done. The door creaked as she pushed it open, revealing a bleak area illuminated by a single flickering bulb. Stacks of decaying cardboard boxes adorned the walls, their contents long forgotten. Luna dropped Electra to the chilly floor with a dull thud, her body lifeless and breathing shallow. The sedation would wear off shortly, so Luna needed to be prepared. She crouched alongside Electra, stroking a strand of black hair away from her face. Even when unconscious, Electra appeared belligerent, with sharp features arranged in a way that suggested she'd wake up fighting. Luna's chest constricted. They were once inseparable, partners in a world that chewed up trust and spewed out contempt. They'd exchanged secrets, dreams, and risks, forging a friendship via late-night stakeouts and narrow escapes. But Electra had passed a limit that Luna could not forgive. The data chip, small enough to fit in the palm of one's hand yet weighty with implications, proved this. Electra had betrayed their cause, team and future for a payday that wouldn't even last a year. Luna discovered the chip in Electra's jacket pocket, its metallic surface gleaming like a traitor's promise. Luna stood and paced the small room, her fingertips tracing the grip of the knife strapped to her thigh. She did not want to do this. She liked outsmarting her foes rather than killing them, leaving them scurrying in her wake. But Electra knew too much. She had seen the blueprints, names and places. If she talked, as Luna was certain she would, everything they had created would crumble. The resistance, a fragile network of rebels opposing the city's iron-fisted authority, would be revealed. Luna's squad would be pursued, their safe houses raided, and their plans turned to ashes. She couldn't let that happen. Not even for Electra. The bulb flickered again, creating jagged shadows throughout the room. Luna's gaze raced to the corners, her instincts honed over years of living on the edge. She had picked this location for its isolation, yet paranoia was her daily companion. What if Electra had already revealed their location? What if they had followed her? She shook her head, pushing the thoughts away. The warehouse remained a ghost, abandoned long before the regime strengthened its grasp. Nobody came here. Nobody would find them. Electra moved, a faint murmur escaping from her lips. Luna's palm tightened on the knife, but she did not pull it. Not yet. She needed answers first, confirmation that Electra acted alone, and that no one else knew what she had done. Luna knelt again, her voice quiet and calm. Wake up, Elle. We need to talk. Electra's eyes widened, perplexity giving way to recognition, and then dread. She strained at the cords that bound her wrists, her actions slow but desperate. Luna? What the hell, where am I? Her voice was husky and filled with panic. You know why you're here, Luna remarked, her voice flat. She held up the data chip to capture the low light. You sold us out. For this. Electra's cheeks paled, but she did not deny it. That was the worst part. Her silence was a confession. Luna's stomach knotted with fury and despair. Why, Elle? We were family. You were my sister. Electra parted her lips but said nothing. Her gaze shifted to the chip and then back to Luna, looking for a way out. It wasn't personal, she finally admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I needed money. You have no idea, Luna, what it's like to be always fleeing and hiding. I was tired. Luna's chuckle was piercing and bitter. We are all fatigued. However, we never betray those who have placed their trust in us. You knew what would happen. You knew they'd come for us. I didn't tell them everything, Electra answered hastily, her words jumbled together. Just enough to be paid. I swear, Luna, I did not give them names. Only places. Empty ones. Nothing critical. Luna's gaze sharpened. Are there any empty locations? Do you expect me to believe that? She leaned in, her voice lowering to a menacing whisper. You think I don't understand how this works? You give them a taste and they will come back for more. They'll shatter you, Elle, and you'll divulge everything. I won't, Electra said, her voice shaking. I am stronger than you believe. Let me go, Luna. I'll disappear. You won't see me again. Luna wanted to trust her. She really wanted to. But trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. She stood and turned away to conceal the shaking in her hands. You don't understand, do you? It isn't only about you. It is about everyone else. Those who believed in us. The people who will die if you speak. Electra's respiration accelerated as her tight hands twisted against the ropes. Luna, please. You don't need to do this. We can repair it. Together. There's no way to solve this, Luna whispered, her back turned. She drew the knife, the blade catching the flickering light. I am sorry, Elle. I can't let you live. The words lingered thick in the air, like a sentence neither of them could break. Luna turned, her face a mask of determination, but her eyes revealed her pain. Electra riveted her gaze on the knife, her anxiety giving way to resignation. She didn't plead or scream. Maybe she realized it was pointless. Perhaps she understood why it had to end this way. Luna stepped forward, her grip firm but her heart racing. She had never killed anyone before, especially someone she cared about. The knife seemed heavier than it should, like a reminder of the border she was about to cross. She crouched and brought the blade to Electra's throat, near enough to feel her pulse against the steel. "Any final words?" Luna inquired, her voice scarcely audible. Electra's gaze met hers, unwavering despite the terror. "I'm sorry," she muttered. "I never meant to hurt you." Luna's throat clenched, but she did not say anything. There was nothing more to say. She pressed the blade closer, and her hand trembled for the first time. The room appeared to shrink, the walls closing in as the reality of what she was about to do dawned on her. This was not justice. It wasn't vengeance. It was about survival. The bulb flared one more time before the room went dark. Luna's breath hitched and her hand froze. Except for Electra's weak breaths and Luna's own heartbeat, the world was silence at that moment. She may pause. She could walk away, leave Electra alive and accept the chance. But the chip in her pocket, the weight of her team's life, and the memory of every sacrifice they'd made kept her grounded in this moment. When the light flickered back on, the task was completed. Electra lay motionless, her eyes wide but not seeing, a tiny line of blood across her throat. Luna's knife clattered on the ground, and her hands shook as she stumbled back. She wanted to scream, cry, and undo what she had just done, but there was no turning back. She'd crossed the line, and the consequences would follow her forever. Luna went to her knees, breathing in frantic gasps. The chip remained in her pocket, a chilling reminder of why she had come here. She pushed herself to stand, wiping the blade clean and returning it to its sheath. She could not remain. The warehouse was secure but not indefinitely. She needed to move, deliver the chip to the others before the regime tracked it back to her. She did not look at Electra as she exited the storage facility and locked the door behind her. The warehouse was silent, with the only sound coming from her boots as she exited. The city loomed beyond the shattered windows, its lights a distant promise of protection she no longer trusted. Luna stepped into the night, the weight of her decision settling in her bones. She had done what she needed to do, but it did not seem like a victory. Seemed like a loss. The streets were quiet as she crept into the shadows, the chip weighing heavily in her pocket. She'd deliver it to the resistance, tell them of Electra's treachery, and then move on. There was no time for grieving or regretting. The regime was closing in, and Luna needed to stay one step ahead. But as she vanished into the city, one idea lingered. Electra's final words, sweet and genuine, lingering in her thoughts like a ghost she couldn't shake. The warehouse faded into the distance as Luna moved through the city's underbelly, her movements fast and silent. The Resistance's safe house was located miles away, in a network of tunnels beneath the old industrial neighborhood. She had remembered the entire route, including every twist and bend and potential ambush location. The regime's drones scoured the skies, scanning for heat signatures, but Luna knew how to dodge them. She has been doing this for too long to get caught now. Her thoughts kept returning to the storage unit, to the instant the light flickered out. She had hesitated, didn't she? Just a second. A part of her wanted to believe Electra could be saved, that there was another option. However, the chip had changed everything. It stored the locations of their supply depots, communication codes, and backup plans. If the dictatorship seized it, the resistance would be over. Luna couldn't take that chance no matter how bad it hurt. The city was a tangle of lights and rot, with towering buildings casting long shadows on the slums underneath. Luna remained in the alleys, her hood down low, her motions blending into the night. She walked across a bunch of scavengers searching through a pile of old technology, their features emaciated and miserable. She didn't stop and didn't make eye contact. Sympathy was another luxury she could not afford. The safe house was now closer, with its entrance concealed behind a rusting grate in a disused alley. Luna examined her surroundings, her hand resting on the knife near her thigh. The streets were unusually quiet, which made her nervous. She hunkered, listening for the sound of drones or the crunch of boots, but there was none. Just the breeze conveying a faint fragrance of oil and burning. She slipped inside the tunnel, the grate closing behind her with a gentle clang. The air was cooler here, wet and heavy with the scent of dirt. Her flashlight threw a narrow beam, revealing the rocky walls as she descended further beneath. The resistance had been using these tunnels for years, a legacy of the city's original infrastructure that had been abandoned when the dictatorship rebuilt the surface to their specifications. It was one of the few areas they couldn't monitor. The safe house was a small compartment reinforced with steel beams and crates of supplies. A single table sat in the center, covered in maps and communication devices. 3 people waited for her. Rin, the leader with his keen eyes and permanent frown. Kale, the tech specialist, crouched over a laptop, and Mara, the healer, her hands soiled with antiseptic. They looked up as Luna entered, their expressions a mix of relief and worry. "You're late," Rin replied with a tight voice. "We were beginning to suspect you had been compromised." Luna removed the chip from her pocket and tossed it on the table. "I had to make a detour," she remarked, her tone bland. "Electra's gone." The room fell silent. Mara's hands froze and her eyes widened. Kale pushed his spectacles upward, his fingers quivering slightly. Rin's frown grew, but he didn't ask for more information. He did not need to. They all understood what gone meant. "Are you sure she was the leak?" Rin inquired, picking up the chip and turning it over in his palm. Luna nodded. "She admitted it. They sold us out for a payment. I couldn't let her walk." Mara turned aside, her mouth tightening. Kale murmured something under his breath while drumming anxiously on the table. Rin simply stared at the chip, his expression unreadable. "This changes things," he eventually stated. "If she talked, they might already know more than we think." "She said she only gave them empty locations," Luna remarked, her words seeming hollow. "But I didn't take any chances." Rin nodded and inserted the chip into a safe drive. "Kale, decrypt this. We need to know just what she provided them. Mara, prepare the medical bay in case we need to move quickly. Luna, you are with me. We need to plot our next move." Luna led Rin to a corner of the room where a city map was taped to the wall. He ran a finger across the northern sector, his voice quiet. "If the regime discovers even a trace of our network, they'll attack the supply caches first. We need to relocate them before they do." Luna nodded, her thoughts only partially focused on the idea. The other half remained in the warehouse, recreating the moment she crossed the boundary. She could still feel the knife's weight and the warmth of Electra's pulse on the blade. She shoved the memory down and forced herself to concentrate. There was no room for weakness anymore. The hours passed in a flurry of thought and planning. Kale cracked the chip, revealing a list of locations, the majority of which were decoys as Electra stated, but one was a key supply hub. They'd have to relocate it tonight before the regime could react. Luna offered to lead the team, needing the distraction and purpose. Rin agreed, but his gaze lingered on her, seeking for flaws she couldn't afford to reveal. As they prepared, Mara took Luna aside, her words calm but forceful. "Are you okay? It is difficult to understand what happened back there, even when it's necessary." Luna mustered a smile, but it seemed fake. "I am fine." Mara didn't press, but her eyes said she didn't believe it. Luna turned aside, inspecting her equipment one more time. The knife remained at her thigh, its weight a continuous reminder. She'd done what she had to do, but the penalty was imprinted on her soul. The squad exited, sliding through the tunnels to the supply center. The city above was a battleground waiting to erupt, and Luna realized they were running out of time. The dictatorship was relentless, expanding its reach with each betrayal. Electra was just one of many examples of a world where loyalty was rare and fragile. As they walked out into the night, Luna's mind returned to the warehouse, to the storage unit that was shut up. Electra was gone, but her ghost would haunt Luna for the rest of her life. The chip was secure, and the resistance remained active, but the victory felt hollow. Luna tightened her grasp on the knife, her gaze probing the darkness. The conflict was not over. Never would be.